Imagine a desert, vast and silent, holding secrets buried for centuries. In 1945, in a forgotten corner of Egypt, a farmer unearths a clay jar. Inside, ancient text words whispered by Jesus himself, lost to time. This is the Gospel of Thomas, a book the church didn't want you to read. Why? What truths were they hiding? Stay with me, because this story might change how you see faith, truth, and yourself. I've stood in places that feel heavy with history, where the past whispers through the stones. That's how I imagine Nag Hammadi, Egypt, where the Gospel of Thomas was found. It's 1945, and a farmer's shovel cracks open a jar, revealing 12 leather-bound books, their pages fragile but alive with words from the first century. Among them, a single Coptic text, 114 sayings of Jesus, written down by Thomas, the disciple we call Doubting Thomas. I've wondered, why was this book hidden? Was it too dangerous? Too different? The Gospel of Thomas isn't like Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. It's not a story of Jesus' life. It's a collection of his words, raw and piercing, like a conversation you weren't supposed to overhear. The church's secret picture the early days of Christianity, a time when faith was a wildfire, spreading through hearts and homes. But not everyone agreed on what it meant to follow Jesus. Some believed in a God who sent Jesus to save us from a lesser, flawed creator called the demiurge, a belief called Gnosticism. It was wild, different, and it scared the early church. I've felt that tension when new ideas challenge what everyone accepts. The church, wanting unity, called Gnosticism heresy. They gathered books like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John into the Bible, but others, like the Gospel of Thomas, were cast aside, labeled dangerous. Some say they were burned, banned, or buried in deserts to keep their words silent. Why hide the Gospel of Thomas? I've imagined church leaders, huddled in candlelit rooms, sifting through texts. They wanted stories that fit stories of Jesus' miracles, his death, his resurrection. But Thomas? It's just sayings, no narrative, no cross. It feels personal, like Jesus whispering truths to you alone. Some scholars say its words are older than the Bible's Gospels, closer to what Jesus might have actually said. Others call it Gnostic, too strange, too focused on secret knowledge over faith. I've wondered, is it possible the church feared its power? Its words ask you to look inside yourself for truth, not just to a priest or a book. That's a radical idea, even today. Who was Thomas? Let's meet Thomas, the man behind the text. You might know him as Doubting Thomas, the disciple who wouldn't believe Jesus rose from the dead until he touched his wounds. I've felt that doubt, that need for proof when faith feels shaky. But Thomas was more than his doubts. Tradition says he carried Jesus' message to far-off lands, Syria, Mesopotamia, even India. I picture him, a wanderer, sharing stories of his teacher under starlit skies. In the Gospel of Thomas, some call him Jesus' twin, not literally, but spiritually, like a brother who understood Jesus' heart. The text begins, "These are the hidden sayings that the living Jesus spoke and Didymos Judas Thomas wrote down." Didymos means twin in Greek. Thomas means twin in Aramaic. A twin to Jesus? That's a bold claim, and it makes you wonder what truths he carried. The sayings that shake you. The Gospel of Thomas isn't a story, it's a mirror. Its 114 sayings feel like Jesus sitting across from you, challenging you to think, to feel, to question. Let's walk through a few, and I'll share what they've stirred in me. Saying 1, the promise of life. Whoever discovers the meaning of these sayings won't taste death. I've read that line and felt a shiver. It is not about living forever. It is about finding a truth so deep you're no longer afraid of death. I've faced moments where fear gripped me, but words like these remind me, truth can set you free. John 8:51 echoes this, "If anyone keeps my word, he will never see death. Have you ever found a truth that made you feel alive? Saying 2, seek and be amazed. Whoever seeks shouldn't stop until they find. When they find, they'll be disturbed. When they're disturbed, they'll be amazed and reign over the all. I've chased answers, thinking I'd find peace, only to uncover hard truths that shook me. This saying tells me that's okay. Truth disturbs before it transforms. I've felt that amazement, like a weight lifting off my chest. What are you seeking right now? Saying 3, the kingdom within. The kingdom is within you and outside of you. When you know yourselves, then you'll be known, and you'll realize that you're the children of the living Father. I've sat with this, feeling it sink in. The kingdom isn't a far-off place, it's in your heart, in the world around you. I've looked in the mirror, asking, who am I, really? This saying says you're a child of God, and knowing that changes everything. Luke 17:21 says, the kingdom of God is within you. Have you ever felt God closer than you expected? Saying 13, Thomas' confession. When Jesus asks, who am I like? Thomas says, teacher, I'm completely unable to say whom you're like. Jesus pulls him aside, whispering 3 secret things. Thomas returns, warning, if I tell you one of them, you'll stone me, and fire will come from the stones. I've imagined that moment, the weight of words too big to share. It reminds me of times I've held truths too heavy to speak. What secrets do you carry? Saying 114. Women and the kingdom. Simon Peter says, Mary should leave us because women aren't worthy of life. Jesus snaps back, look, am I to make her a man? Every woman who makes herself manly will enter the kingdom of heaven. This one's tough. I've felt anger reading Peter's words, but Jesus defends Mary, challenging the idea that women are lesser. Some say manly means bold, courageous, standing tall in a world that puts you down. I've seen women in my life embody that strength, defying odds. It makes me wonder, what does courage look like for you? These sayings aren't just words, they're invitations. They ask you to dig deep, to question, to find the divine spark inside. I've felt that pull, like a voice calling me to look beyond the surface of my life. Why was it hidden? So why didn't the Gospel of Thomas make it into the Bible? I've pictured church leaders in the 4th century, debating what belonged in their holy book. They wanted texts with authority, tied to apostles like Matthew or John, backed by miracles and resurrection. Thomas? It's just sayings, no story, no proof it came from the Thomas. Scholars say it might borrow from the canonical Gospels, written later, maybe in the 2nd century. It's Gnostic flavor talk of secret knowledge, the body and soul becoming one clashed with the Church's focus on faith and righteousness. Eusebius, a historian, called it impious and absurd, unfit even for lesser books. But I wonder, was it really dangerous? Or was it too free, too focused on you finding God within yourself? The Church wanted order, a single story. Thomas asks you to question, to seek, to trust your own heart. That's powerful, maybe too powerful for some. I've felt that tension, choosing between what I'm told and what I feel is true. Have you ever questioned what you were taught? The Gospel's call to you, reading the Gospel of Thomas, feels like uncovering a treasure. Its words aren't easy, they challenge, disturb, and awaken. They tell you the kingdom is already here, inside you, waiting to be found. I've sat with that idea, feeling both small and infinite. Jesus says in saying 113, the Father's kingdom is already spread out over the earth, and people don't see it. I've looked at my life, my struggles, my joys, and wondered, where's the kingdom in this? It's in the love I give, the questions I ask, the moments I feel God's presence. This gospel isn't about blind faith, it's about seeking truth, even when it's hard. I've faced moments where I doubted everything, but Thomas reminds me, doubt isn't the end. It's the start of discovery. Saying 2 says you'll be disturbed, then amazed. I felt that amazement, like finding light in the dark. What truths are you afraid to face? Your search for truth. The Gospel of Thomas is more than a relic. It's a call to look within. I've asked myself, what's my kingdom? For me, it's the quiet moments when I feel connected to something bigger. Maybe for you, it's a prayer, a walk in nature, or a kind act. This text, buried for centuries, whispers that you don't need a church or a priest to find God. He is already with you. Matthew 7:7 says, "Seek and you will find." Thomas echoes that, urging you to keep looking, no matter what. What's your hidden truth? What's the question burning in your heart? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear. My truth is _ and I'm seeking it. Your story might spark someone else's journey. If this moved you, subscribe for more stories that uncover the past and light your path. Share this with one person who needs to hear it. You stayed until the end. Thank you. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time. The truth is closer than you think.